Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome in for another episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame, where we will wrap up the high school basketball season.
Indeed.
Yeah, state tournament's over. We had state champions, had some upsets.
Yeah, it was, I think,
pretty wild ride. Yeah.
it was about all you could have asked for out of a state tournament with some of the moments we had. One of the greatest shots I think either of us have ever seen.
Yeah.
Some competitive games, some great matchups. And ultimately we had mostly the favorites pull through, but couple surprises along the way as well. So
D2 was definitely a surprise from the jump, and I guess we'll get into it. So where do you want to start? You want to just go D2 up?
I don't know. Do we want to keep it the same way we did the girls, go in order of game, or do we want to go A to D2? Or it's up to you. You're driving the ship.
Let's go. Let's just start with D2 because we never do that. So St. Mary's wins. Before, if you listen to our preview pod, we both were like, yeah, they're the clear favorite. But the best game was Stewart and Archangels, Humphrey St. Francis. That comeback was amazing.
Yeah.
It was 16. That was the best game.
It was
a 16-0 run
to
end the game and win by two.
Yeah. And
like in the final 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
And we were sitting over courtside. So was Kendall Coley alongside Humphrey native
legend
Allison Widener. Yes. Again,
they were very into the game.
Kendall certainly was.
Yeah, I was like
excited too, but Kendall,
not sure you can say.
Yeah, she was talking to the refs, talking to the fans, talking to the kids on the court,
coaching
encouraging. Yeah, I mean, she probably played a big part in that comeback.
Yeah, I will say it was a fun game. It was a very good game. So, and then why not? Wausau was a close game too, 55-52 in the semis. Little bit, not really that big of a surprise. Why not beating them? And then St. Mary's in the final was pretty they stretched it out in the third quarter. I guess it was close, right?
The impressive thing about this game
is that Gage Hedstrom didn't shoot it great, and neither team shot it great.
Well, in general, but I'm just think back to last year at State. This group first chance to go there to State. They get run off the floor, 53-21 to that same Wynot team.
Yeah.
They made 5 shots in the entire game.
Yeah.
Scored 21 points.
Yeah.
Now they come back, almost all the same guys, and they win a state title, beating the same team by 12 that sent them home last year. So just kind of shows the year-over-year growth there for that St. Mary's team. And they got 3 dudes that in D2, you got 3 dudes like those guys. You're going to be tough to beat with Gage Hedstrom, obviously the veteran leader as a junior there, but then a couple of sophomores and Logan Brabeck and Ben Barlow, who Ben really came alive, had a great state championship game. All 3 of those guys put up numbers throughout the tournament though. And credit to St. Mary's. They said that game last year, that drove on this offseason. That left a bad taste in their mouth. And now it was probably little bit sweeter that they're able to take down that same Wynot team in order to cut down the nets.
Also, just the game in general, like the game flow, like the first half was great for a D2 game.
Well,
for a D2 title game, that thing is normally super sleepy and
remember how I said St. Mary's scored 21 points last year? They had 20 in the first quarter, and then nobody scored for 4 minutes.
Right.
And then it was like goes in the 20s.
It was a very quick start, and you're like, whoa, all right, this is good. This is good.
A lot of shots, ball flying all around the court. Yeah, and then it slowed down in the second quarter. Then St. Mary's took control in the third and fourth and pulled away to close it out. So congrats to St. Mary's, and no seniors.
Yeah.
They are going to be back next year. Good luck to the rest of D2 trying to find out how to dethrone them.
And then move on to Class D1, Johnson Brock.
Three-peat, as expected.
Clear favorite, and really kind of handled things through, right? No one really was close.
Nope. 15 plus in every game. 15, 17, and 41 were their margins of victory.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So not a lot not a lot to write on, but just a few Johnson Brock notes. Came to Dallinghouse. I went over 1,500 points, 2 free throws to get it done actually in his career. So that's pretty good. And three-peat.
Yeah. I mean, McCool Junction probably gave them the toughest battle in that they were with them through the first half. And in that third quarter, they really turned it on, held them to 2 points in the second quarter, and then just ran away with the game. So it just shows the ability of this Johnson Brock's team to get on a roll and really bury teams.
I said it on Saturday. So I saw Johnson Brock, I guess 4 or 5 times this year and in person. And, you know, the Dallinghouse Twins get a lot of credit, which they should. But I think the guy that like is the catalyst for them is actually the unsung hero, if you will, is Meyer. Like he just does a lot of the dirty work stuff, right?
And that allows the guy like Kaler and the Dallinghouse and stuff to fly up the court, run and gun, play freely, take some questionable shots at times because they're going to hit some of them. Because he's a guy that can go clean up the glass, get you second chance opportunities, finish off, dump offs, and that type of deal. And stuff.
Like I think he was kind of the key for them. It doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, completing that team. Yeah, and they had a couple role guys come in and knock down a few shots throughout the game too that got everybody involved. So it's just a really, for D1, really well-rounded team.
And they're not going to be like they'll still be pretty all right next year.
Rody Kaler coming back, and he really he's been a big piece of this. He really came on strong this year and was right up there with Camden Dallinghouse for their go-to option. Thing I was the most impressed with him in that game was defensively. I think he was credited with 2 blocks. He must have forced at least 10 other wild misses around the basket that he didn't get credit for blocking. But you got guys shooting off the side of the backboard, missing the rim entirely, trying to finish inside. And a lot of that, I mean, he flew out and forced a near air ball on a corner 3 with how high he contested and forced them to put extra arc on it. So really good athlete at the D1 level, and he'll be back next year. Obviously the Twins will be gone. He's got to be the leader for that team now, and we'll see kind of what they do during the offseason to kind of bring those other guys up and form a team around him. But pretty darn good piece to build around for a returning champion who is going to be going for their 4th straight.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. Okay. Now C2.
I will say one other uplifting note is Mapiu Kauchinen.
Yeah, him coming back.
Yeah, was able to play in huge part the spark in their first round game to get them through. And for him to be able to play well, play big minutes in that. Talked to Coach Wirtz going into it, and like he wasn't sure what they were. Got hurt.
A pretty significant foot injury
a while back,
actually.
And
it was
didn't
football,
play.
I think, or was it early?
No, it was in a game recently. So missed the last 7 games, I think.
He got cleared on Monday. Yeah,
because I had asked before that, like, should I include him in the players to watch? Yeah. Does he have a chance to play? And Coach was like, can you include him? We're not sure yet. It's nature of his injury. We don't know if he'll be able to go, but sure enough, he did. And I think he had a fantastic season. And I'm glad he was able to close it out. Heading to Missouri Western State for football.
Yeah. All right. Class C2. This was where the surprise came.
First 8 seed since 2009.
2009. It was Meade. Yeah, in 2009. Yeah. Yeah, it was the last one too.
Shout out to Fremont, Archbishop Bergan getting it done, rolling through, and they did not look like an 8 seed.
No,
throughout the tournament.
I will tell you this: they are super young. They are not going anywhere anytime soon. They will be right back here in this situation.
Sophomores and juniors leading the way.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, massive credit to Coach Milnarek and his staff, and which actually Grant Frickenstein. Is on the staff, former Bergan player, and played at Omaha too. So pretty cool story there, because you're an 8 seeded, you run through one Freeman who you and I, everyone thought was just the clear favorite in C2, and that didn't happen. So, and then even beating Summerland, who was frankly probably the number 2-ish team all year, right? In our coaches poll and rankings, and that was something. So they had those 2 big wins, and then Cross County obviously was pretty good too, pretty athletic. So shout out to Bergan for getting that done again, not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, so it was funny. One, Coach Monarch was so excited to talk about his team in this win.
Right.
He gave the longest opening comments that I've ever seen at the state tournament. He talked for 5 minutes.
That's good.
To open the game, just hitting on every single thing that was bounced around on his head. He was so excited. So that was pretty funny to see him just talking about his team and what they accomplished. They obviously 8 seed underdog story. They needed to win in district final. They lost in their sub-district final. Had to go and knock off Norfolk Catholic, who had a great season in the district final, even to make it to state. And leading like through that week and into state, they had Nate Graver, one of their bench players. They had him every day in practice bring a different underdog success story. Some team throughout the history of sports that pulled off an unbelievable run to go win something. Yeah. And every day he was given a different speech to the team, just kind of letting them know, hey, this is possible. We can be this team. And sure enough, they were. Although Coach Monarch said once they got through that first round, obviously the one loss, number 1 seed. Yeah, you're as an 8 seed, you're definitely an underdog. He said once they got through that and they were able to win that game, they didn't feel like an underdog anymore. No, they were like, we belong here. Yeah. We have every right to go win these games. And sure enough, they did.
And beating Summerland in the semis was and it wasn't, I mean, it's 64-48 was a pretty big win.
So Gavin Baker has been their guy all year at like 20-10 almost, junior, 6'6" post.
Can I tell you that maybe it's the jersey number, but like I was like, wait, is that Adam Dykeman? Looked like Adam Dykeman out there a little bit. Weren't they both 42? Was it Adam 42, 44, something like that?
You remember how long ago that was?
That was a long.
Shout out to Adam though. Great guy.
That was like 2011, 12, something like that.
But so Baker's been the lead guy all season long, and Coach Monarch mentioned too, he's held under his average every game in the state tournament. Played well, like double doubles and things like that. Played well, but didn't go off for 20 plus in any of the games. The key was Cale Sheets, sophomore, coming in the first 2 games. He put up 40 points in their first 2 games, and in the championship game, it was Trey Mooney who led them with 16 points, 7 rebounds to kind of spark their run in the second half, where they were able to pull away. And also a sophomore. So those guys, like you said, that's the core of the team. They're coming I think Sheets averaged about 8 points in a game during the season. Mooney was at 9, and both those guys stepped up in the tournament. And that's how you make a run like this as an 8 seed. So congrats to Coach Molnar. Congrats to Bergan. Really impressive run. And again, this is the first 8 seed that I've witnessed win.
I saw that Meade game. I remember that.
2013, I think, is when I first started working with you and covering high school sports. So that predated my time following this. So that was the first for me. Pretty cool to see.
All right. C1, another, like it's upsets by seed line. Like Ashland-Greenwood won, but it's not like overly surprising just because of the history. They've been there. They're always in the conversation. Coach Mose and the staff has done a tremendous job of building that program, and they defend the out of it. So
it's probably the most. It's not.
It's the most balanced. They don't have
the most improbable run that they've made. You go back to the 3 in the last 4. Like those teams were loaded. Honestly, Concordia too, who made the finals 3 of the previous 4 years or the semifinals and couldn't break through. They finally did make it to the final this year. Mm-hmm. And yet, I talked to both Ashland-Greenwood and Omaha Concordia. They were more talented last year. They've had better roster than the ones that made it here. But the way these guys competed and played their best ball at the right time of the year, and obviously like Wahoo moving out. You had some guys graduate that kind of opened it up a little bit. You had Holdridge not even make it. One of the best players in the state. You had Sawyer Smith, who that's hurt. One of the unfortunate parts of this. The day before their first round game, walk through practice, whatever they were doing, shoot around, whatever it was. I don't know if he landed on somebody's foot or it just came down on it wrong, but severely twisted his ankle. Mm-hmm. And he tried to go through warm-ups and you could just see it just wasn't going to happen. And that's Player of the Year finalists who our voting's complete on that. We'll be announcing those at the awards show next week. But really unfortunate to see them lose their main guy, who 22 points, 9 boards.
It would have made a difference.
He's arguably the best player in C1, right up there. So that's an unfortunate way to start the tournament, but after that, I think it turned into a really fun,
super competitive.
Throughout. Ashland-Greenwood had to take down Lincoln Lutheran, who handled them on their own court. I saw them back earlier in the season. They held them to 28 points in that game. Rematch in the semifinal. Ashland-Greenwood was up 28-24 at halftime. So they matched their point total in the first half, and then were able to pull away and win in the second half. But Ashland-Greenwood, they faced Concordia, who Donovan Trouble knocked off Ogallala without Sawyer Smith. Concordia was a much tougher matchup for them, just from the physicality standpoint. Concordia was just able to pound the ball inside, take advantage, and get some easy buckets.
Some thicker, strong players in Concordia's roster.
Donovan Trouble really guard heavy lineup, and they didn't shoot the ball well enough. They competed. That was a game right down to the end. They just couldn't make enough shots to jump ahead there late, but set up a pretty good championship game. But in the end, Ashland-Greenwood was able to pull away. And like you said, defensively, there are times this season, just checking in with Coach Mose and watching that team. I mean, they're the 5 seed. They lost 5 games this year.
Yeah.
Long stretches there, they weren't matching the standard that the program has established for defense. And then at some point in the season, they just kind of turned it around and started clicking. And they were phenomenal defensively in the final. And
they didn't give up 50 in the 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ashland, they got off to a good start, and then Concordia rallied to make it competitive. And the thing about this Ashland-Greenwood team is they weren't shooting the ball well at all from 3 this season. And Concordia really decided, all right, we're going to pack the paint, 2 guys in every driving lane. You're not going to be able to post up. Derek Tonjes had his way early on, and they really started limiting opportunities. And then Tonjes and Cal Kissinger both knocked down corner threes in that fourth quarter or in that second half. That allowed them to kind of stretch back out. Those are big time shots, because you come up empty on those possessions, Concordia goes down and scores. Now you're really starting to feel the pressure, and that allowed them to kind of keep a comfortable margin there and hold on to win. So made some big plays. Tonjes had a great tournament. They had Cooper Westerholt was really good as well, and he's another fun story. This summer they found a benign bone tumor on his femur.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't sure, just routine checkup, hadn't been bothering him or anything, but went in, found is hey, you got to see a specialist, and no, you need surgery. You have any activity on this, you have a chance to just shatter your leg. And so he went in, had surgery, wasn't sure if he'd be able to play this year. They got addressed, he got back, and he ended up being their second leading scorer this year as a junior. So had a really good game in the final as well. So again, just another one of those kind of fun storylines, uplifting to see a kid come back from that to play such a big role for a state championship. And I mean, it's a junior led team for Ashland-Greenwood. These guys were in the program. They were on the team. They were on the bench
They've been around it
for that title 2 years ago, but none of these guys played an important role. They were there, but they didn't play a part in winning that title. Now they've got their own. So it's pretty cool for them to see what the upperclassmen did for them to be part of it and kind of understand what it takes. And now 2 years later, after a disappointing end to their tournament run last year, to get it done this year, I think is pretty cool for those guys.
Now it's just the expectation that Ashland-Greenwood is there every year in the mix and conversation.
And Derek Tonjes put the kind of finishing touches with the breakaway reverse slam, which I did not know he could do. I coached him for 2 years, and I couldn't remember ever seeing him dunk the ball. He's big, strong kid, really good basketball player.
Coach Mose gave him a look a little bit, and then I think he kind of was all right, whatever.
Shot clock was on. There's a minute left in the game. It wasn't 3 seconds left.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Whatever, man. Go do it.
Fun way to final memory on that game. And they got the seniors or the veterans checked out. Got all the young guys for both teams in there. So everybody got a chance to play. So
it was fine.
Kind of a fun ending.
Okay, Class B, Skutt, three-peat. They're pretty good.
Well, we talked about being disappointed the way that the bracket shook out. Turns out we had a championship caliber game in the semifinal, which almost didn't happen though, because in the first round
could have been Pius.
Potentially the greatest shot that we've ever seen.
It wasn't potentially. It was the greatest high school shot.
It's hard to weigh a championship winning game versus a first round game, but in terms of just the shot itself, I've never seen a shot like that to win it. And the circumstances that led up to the shot, hitting chucking it from deep and throwing it in, we've seen that before. But the whole sequence Folkert's hitting 2 big threes for Norris. We're talking about the first round game, Norris and Pius.
If you missed it, I
don't know where you've been. It was on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Number one play.
But Folkert's hitting the 2 deep threes to bring them back. And then Pius on the other side, they went 1 of 6 in the final 30 seconds from the free throw line.
2 of 8, even 2.
Yeah.
Even like
extended. But if you go 2 of 6 in that time, you win the game.
Oh, and twice they missed and then got the offensive rebound and then missed again.
Yeah. Right. It's just tough. So, but I will say this, and I did, Pius's game plan in that game was phenomenal. Yeah. Like diamond in 1 and
Chase and Barret both
really junked it up.
Did not let him get a look off. He took 1 shot up until the game winner.
Right.
Like, for 1 from 3. They did not give him any open looks, and he's a guy that Junior Gardner's the one they've kind of played through inside, but Boesiger right there is their career scoring leader. One of the best 3-point shooters in the state, and Pius didn't give him any looks, and were able to hang around with it because of that. But yeah, like you said, they were down. Folkert's to the guy that Jimmy Moe said they call him Mr. March because you think back freshman year, he hit the game winner in their district final to get them to state. Hit some big shots, state down last year, and now here he is hit the first one, which was big to kind of keep them alive, and then the second one from a step inside the in front of the N logo at half court. Not sure where it would have been on the map if it was still there, but it was pretty close to. I mean, it was almost closer to central Nebraska than it was the Panhandle edge because that thing was deep.
It was probably like on the old map. It would have been probably like a Kimball or Sydney where he made it from. Yeah. So hit that one and with 3.2 left was it? Yeah.
Pius called timeout to drop a play. Set up the kind of throwback to Colby Volkmer, their quarterback, for the deep pass. And the pass basketball is a lot harder to throw than a football is.
Right.
It just drifted a little bit to him. So his target caught it and threw it back in bounds. But Boesiger was the one there who caught it, 2 dribbles, let that thing fly from the opposite 3-point line, right in the basket.
70 feet.
70 feet,
Yeah.
That's
just incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah. So to get 6 points in 3.5 seconds to win the game.
And it wasn't like a good game. It just the ending was good. It wasn't like a basketball, like free flowing thing, which is how Pius was going to be able to win. Okay. And then just stay on the top half here. That Skutt Norris semifinal was fantastic. And it came down to a game winning shot too.
Yeah. And
those are the 2 best teams all year. We said it.
The emotions of going from winning like they did in the first round to losing on a tip in at the buzzer in the second, that's I can't imagine what those kids are gonna like. What are the memories and emotions gonna be when they think back in this 5-10 years down the road?
They're definitely gonna remember that weekend, and it's never gonna go away. So and George Zebo hits the put back game winner for Skutt to beat Norris, and somebody has said that Skutt was the best team all year. I don't know who that was, but one of us 2 did. And they ended up winning. And
the other one of us said that Skutt was the only team that could compete with them down at state. And I think
Norris
both
was the only team that could.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I didn't say they couldn't compete. I just thought the matchup. Like looking at the matchup, I was like, "There's just no way." Like, I just think Skutt, whatever. And then it was close, but I'm just saying I was right.
We were both right. I keep saying
no. Roll the tape back. These are
nowhere did I state that Norris was unequivocally beating Skutt. I said that Norris had the chance to. They were right up there, same tier, and I think a 2-point win kind of.
So that semifinal game was fantastic, and it'll get forgotten about because
Norris isn't going anywhere though.
Yeah, no, they'll be fine.
Some seniors, but
Skutt
Folkerts will step into a bigger role.
Skutt isn't, and Scottsbluff isn't, and Elkhorn North is also going to be pretty dang good, I think, going next year as well. So all the 4 semifinalist teams should be pretty good again. Now Skutt loses a lot of senior. Leadership and all that stuff, but they'll be fine. Speaking of Scottsbluff, so Nate Kelley is really good. You coached him before. I watched him play a lot. We've both watched him play a lot of like AAU summer stuff.
winning player.
Just makes plays, just wins. And then so I sent a tweet or X or whatever you want to call it now about him. I said he has a little Mike Gazelle in him, and I did get some pushback on that. And what I mean by that is, yeah, he's not the same size. Like Mike was a little taller. Mike was maybe a little more athletic from a, lateral stuff or whatever you want to say. But the intangible stuff is very much the same. Because I remember I watched Mike a lot, like when he was in high school, and there's a lot there.
And the ability to impact the game in every way at the high school level.
So I mean, the intangible stuff, like all the little things, like Mike Gazelle did a great job at that. Now, Nate isn't as good of a 3-point shooter as Mike was, but Nate also has that mid-range, like elbow jumper that hits all the time, pull-ups and stuff like that. I mean, Nate, the leadership stuff there is off the charts with him.
Yeah, made some big plays throughout the state. At the start of that game, he came out the first 5 minutes. He controlled the action in that game. And Scottsbluff led at the end of the first quarter. And then the second quarter, George Zeeble got going, scored 8 points. Skutt put up 20 as a team.
Really difficult matchup for Scottsbluff.
And what made Skutt special, in addition to defense and just how cohesive they were, what separates them from the other teams is the fact that they've got 2 6'9" guys. And what you would need to do to force Brock Scholl into a tough game and the amount of defensive attention that you have to send his way, it makes it hard to do that and also keep Zeeble off the offensive glass. And he feasted on offensive rebounds throughout the tournament.
They both had really good, opposite side offensive rebounds. It's just hard.
Zeeble averaged, he had 17 rebounds in semifinal. He averaged almost 15 rebounds a game. Had a double-double all 3 games for them. I named him obviously Brock Scholl is their season-long MVP and head into Omaha and a great player. But based on his performance at state and the difference he made, I named him the most outstanding player for our all-tournament team in Class B, just because how consistently impactful he was throughout the 3 games. And he's a junior coming back, and he spoke with our Austin Jacobson after the game, and he called the shot. Said it's going to be 4 in a row next year. They've got him coming back, and Eddie Linderman, who's a great defensive player, was huge for them. We'll do a little bit more offensively next year. Carter Wissink as well.
He played. He had a nice tournament too. I thought we didn't just 50-50 balls and stuff like that.
And that's what those guys, Linderman and Wissink, they both kind of sub for each other. They go out there and defensively they take on the toughest assignments. Like those two were the guys that guarded Kelley the entire game. And as good as he was at the start, I think just the defensive attention paid to him and always having 2 6'9" guys at the rim when he got there really started to wear him down. And you could see shots weren't falling in the second half. Trey Boswell, who hit some big ones in the semis and early in that game, wasn't able to get going in the final. So they just didn't have quite enough firepower to keep up with Skutt. But there's no shame in the way that Scottsbluff competed. It's just, again, being able to keep up with Skutt for 32 full minutes with that size and that defense, that's tough, and they weren't able to do it. But great tournament run for Scottsbluff, and again, they're bringing a lot back.
Trey Boswell's back for them. They got a lot. They'll be good.
Kean Delgado had a great tournament, important role for them. Kelley obviously, and Robbie Meininger. Who is a really great shooter as well, and needs to probably be a little bit more aggressive next year. Looking for a shot to take some pressure off of Boswell and Kelley, but it's a pretty darn good trio of guards to build around next year. So, like you said, none of these Elkhorn North with Simon Pietkowski and Nike Orgebold leading the way. Kellen Murphy as well, just a sophomore this year. You got that trio coming back. None of these teams that made the semis are going anywhere next year. So I'm looking forward to another fun Class B season next year.
All right. Class A, a lot to get to, but we're running out of time here. So Papillion South, number 1 seed. I mean, they did it. Best player, Bryson Bahl. So I think that was pretty clear. There's debate or was debate or whatever. I don't know if there's debate anymore. I'm not sure you can debate it at this point.
No, I don't think so. said it all year, and I think everything backed it up. I'm just pulling up his numbers for state here just to kind of put some further context to that, because
it's not
great all season and played his best basketball.
Super efficient in the quarterfinal against Papio.
Okay, so no shock. MOP on our all tournament team. Here's numbers for the tournament: 25.7 points on 54.5% from the field, 42.9% from three, 100% from the free throw line. Went 20 for 20.
That's
hit three
crazy.
clutch ones at the end of that Westside game in the final. 6.7 rebounds, 2.7 steals, and 2.7 blocks. So getting it done on both ends of the court, scoring at an unbelievably efficient pace. Scored 20 plus in all three, or he had 33 in the semifinal. 21 in the final. He just was fantastic. Hit some big shots like he has all season long. So and great. Obviously, we talked about Bryson being the best player, but he had other guys step up.
Yeah, I was
Reese Kircher hit a big shot, and then Jaden Herrera.
Yes,
8 points in the fourth quarter, 17 in the game.
They don't win that. They don't win that game without him.
No,
like at all.
So he had 15 in the first round. Only made one shot, but it was a big one in the fourth quarter in the semifinal. And he was also the one guarding Derek Rollins for much of that game, and made life really tough for him. Rollins wasn't able to finish with 11 points there. They wasn't able to assert himself. And then 17 in the final, 8 points in the fourth quarter, knocked down two big threes, had a bucket inside after Westside had kind of made a push and like, all right, here we are, score again inside to kind of calm things down for Papillion-La Vista South. So just fantastic run by him. Levi Webb was steady throughout the tournament. Didn't have any pop games, but was really solid throughout the three games. Like, that's all you needed from a sophomore. With the way that the ball was
kind of be the lead guy next year a little bit over there.
Yep, and sounds like he'll have
some addition,
some new help. But it's a great team. Congrats to Papillion-La Vista South. First, Bryson Bahl said during his sophomore, he promised by the time that he was done at Papillion-La Vista South, he was going to get the school or get the program its first title, and promise delivered.
Yeah, I would. Another thing, Reese, we talked about him a lot, but this year, but his evolution as a player since in the last 3 years has been pretty neat to see, because he was like shot hunting and whatever as a younger guy, and now he is in that very much so. I'm going to lead the team, point guard, make the right plays. I mean, when you in the semifinal, he had 5 assists in the first 6 minutes. That's pretty awesome. It's hard to do.
and that's when that team's at its best, when you got shooters all around the floor. You got him finding them, setting them up. And he said, in that fourth quarter, you're going to leave Jane open. I'm going to keep finding him, and he's going to hit him down. I don't know why you do that.
Their offense, also the evolution of just their offense. They just want to go fast, play fast, get shots, spread the ball, move. I mean, it's very much so a 2025 off basketball offense, and there's some college stuff to it too. Just their cutting and switching and stuff. So it's pretty good.
Congrats to Coach Hueser, one of the most respected, well-liked coaches in the Metro and the state. You can see just the outpouring of happiness for him and for the program after they won it. Pretty cool to see.
22 years, him, Coach Hueser. Listen to this. This is wild because it never happens. In this day and age, you find this. So Coach Hueser has been the head coach for 22 years. Coach Cooley and Coach Simpson have been on the staff for 22 years. That's pretty cool.
For those guys to put in all that work over 2 decades together and to break through now.
Also, a little shout out here. Saturday was a pretty good day to be a Cooley brother. Because not only did Papillion-La Vista South win it, but Brian, Colorado State, he's assistant coach of Colorado State. They won the Mountain West Conference and punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament. So can you imagine what their mom was like that day? So pretty nervous.
Yeah.
And another thing too, we touch on Papillion-La Vista South here some more is Coach Hueser has had a back injury issue that I guess I just found out about, and I think everyone, not even everyone, but he's been dealing with for the last month or so. and has missed some time at practice and missed some school. And like practice, you just have to sit down and, watch and coach from a chair type of stuff. So that's another little bit of like the internal like grit and toughness of him to fight through all that and to get it done is pretty cool. So. And I do know this. His best friend, Paul Baronic, is probably smiling really, really, really big watching him do it. So, yeah. So
go figure. We, first, I'll shout out to Jay and Hurrdat's mom, Jackie, for the custom jacket that she had made to wear to state, just with Jay and all over it. That was pretty sick. Check that out on our social feeds. But it is interesting that we talked about all season long, like how unpredictable Class Day was going to be. Anybody could win it, and it sort of played out that way. But in the end,
it was kind of the predictable.
Yeah, still the number one seed ended up winning it. Go figure, right?
Right. And Southeast. So one thing we're going to talk the rest of this. Southeast had the comeback against North Star in the quarterfinal. Didn't make a field goal in the whole fourth quarter, but
9-0 run to end the game in the last 2 minutes, all from the free throw line, all Mike Nagoy.
Wild.
That's wild. We saw a few just insane collapses, comebacks, however you want to term it, like 3 in a row. That was Wednesday night, and then the Archangels come back the next morning, and
then right after
Bergan
that
had
Norris.
a comeback too. Norris had that one. There was the 9-0, a 12-0, and a 16-0 run to end games for comeback wins. All within the span of 24 hours.
Also, Westside, we haven't touched on them at all. They're clearly set up for the next year of being very good. If everyone stays at all these schools, we don't know right now. But Westside's young talent and depth and
experience they've got gained this year.
Yeah, they're going to be the next 2 years. They're going to be the absolute team to beat.
That being said, I do want to highlight a senior going out, Trell Snoddy.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He had one double-digit scoring game in his career heading into state. It was 10 points in their district final loss. Right. So that's the only time he had scored more than scored double figures in his career. Hit that point, he had 12 and 14. I think either 12 or 13 in the first round, and then 14 in the final.
He was great defensively against Southwest and the Twins.
Yeah, just overall stepped up, had a great state tournament, and Jim Simons got emotional. I asked him about him and got emotional, had to take a minute to gather himself talking about Trell. And you talked about guys staying. The fact that he's stuck at Westside despite being stuck behind Caleb Benning and CJ Mitchell and guys like that over the years. It wasn't starting at times this year. By the end of the year, he had kind of cracked the starting lineup and been one of their steady pieces. Still wasn't a big scorer for them, even when he was playing more. But he stuck with it, stayed at Westside, continued to put in work. And then senior year, here he is, state tournament, plays best basketball in the biggest moments in his final games, and had Westside within a few possessions of winning a state title. So, this guy deserves some credit. But Lee Robinson and Emery Geddick coming back, and the other guys around him, Westside's not going anywhere. But like I said, we talked about how unpredictable it was, and we got a 1 versus 2 in the final. So basketball is weird sometimes. But it's a fun way to end the season for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, you want to check out all our coverage. I wrote about every single game, championship game on Saturday. I wrote about every game throughout the week on our website, named my all tournament teams, most outstanding players in every class. All that stuff you can go find on our website. If you missed any of the games, want to see who stood out, really, I've got you covered there. Our social feeds, Austin. Shout out to Austin.
Yeah, he worked his
fantastic job this week. I don't know how many interviews he did over the last 2 weeks. He is taken a couple of days off, very much well deserved, getting away from basketball, but he'll be back ready to go for March Madness here coming up. But and everybody, our whole team, all our contractors, everybody behind the scenes posting stuff. Shout out to Anna Ambrose and the work that she's done on for our preps coverage this year. We just have a really big team, a lot of people that contributed, and I don't think anybody from every angle provided the coverage to match what we did this year and what we try to do every year.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. Yes, and ditto to that. Like it's something for me that obviously like high school basketball has been a passion of mine for over about 15 years now. Taking a step away from some of that this year and allowing our other people to kind of grow and build has been neat to watch. I won't say stressful. I will say more emotional for me than stressful because I want to be there as much as I can. And I, for my own personal reasons, I decided, hey, I'm going to dive into more college stuff. So it's been a difficult year. It was a difficult mental end of the year for me, but it was fun to help Austin and everyone else kind of grow and be that for our team.
Yeah, it's kind of wild thinking back when you and I first started this together.
Yeah.
But 12 years ago now, about that is when I joined up and started working with you, and to see kind of what we're doing now compared to what we did back then.
We're talking about evolution. It's been a lot.
But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we're able to get to this point and provide this kind of coverage for Hurrdat Sports. So it's been a lot of fun talking about it all season long with you here on the Nebraska Preps postgame. And I don't think we're planning on going anywhere again next year, but might take a little break. We'll figure out some stuff.
We need to get some spring stuff going. We'll plan some stuff out though, so it might be a little bit before we have another episode, but we'll need to figure something else out on that.
Indeed. So thanks a lot for listening all season long. This has been the Nebraska Preps postgame.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.